What if Iron Man built Darth Vader's suit? Let's explore the depths of this scenario in the video. Tony Stark shudders as a low humming device shrieks into his ear, leaving his body frozen in place. Standing above him, his former mentor, Obadiah Stane. He slowly pulls the arc reactor from his chest and holds it up for him to see.
This is your Ninth Symphony. Oh, what a masterpiece. Look at that. This is your legacy. A new generation of weapons with this at its heart. Weapons that will help steer the world back on course. Put the balance of power in our hands. The right hands. I wish you could see my prototype.
He begins to place the arc reactor into a briefcase and prepares to leave.
I already have a buyer. Someone very interested in the armor you've made.
Suddenly, Obadiah's watch begins to beep as a figure begins to call him. It's a figure cloaked in black, hidden by a dark mask.
Not just the armor. Is this the man who built the armor?
Yes, sir. The one and only Tony Stark.
Vader stares into the paralyzed man's eyes, sensing great power in him, even without the Force.
I shall have him too.
My lord, that wasn't part of our agreement.
The armor you've created is crude compared to what he can make. This man is more valuable than any piece of tech you can give me. Don't worry, though. He shall not pose a threat to your takeover. I intend to take him far away from your world.
I've tried taking him far away, and he still came back. Where will you bring him?
To my home, in a galaxy far, far away.
Obadiah looks at the man in surprise, wondering if he's joking or not. But Vader appears completely serious. He quickly agrees, placing the arc reactor back into Tony's chest, but keeping him paralyzed as he prepares him for transport. A few minutes later, an Imperial shuttle lands outside the Stark mansion and carries Tony away to Mustafar. On the way back, Vader keeps Tony imprisoned in a ray shield as he looks over the information that Obadiah provided him about Tony. He's surprised and impressed to see what the man has accomplished with the limited technologies of his planet. In some ways, he reminds Vader of himself when he was still Anakin, a genius inventor who also tried to change the world from injustice. For that reason, Vader allows Tony to keep his memories, but his surgical droid places an inhibitor chip in his brain. This chip is programmed by Vader himself, commanding Tony to be loyal to him and placing special command codes when he activates it. After weeks of travel, they arrive at Vader's castle on Mustafar. He takes Tony down to the lab, which is lined with state-of-the-art tools and more equipment than any Stark lab. Even imprisoned, Tony could not help but be impressed.
I was told by your mentor that you built the most powerful suit of armor your world has ever known in, as he puts it, a cave with a box of scraps. But as impressive as that armor is, it is rather primitive. I think with my tools, you shall make something far greater.
I made that suit of armor to save myself, to protect people from tyrants. What makes you think that I'm just gonna make you one?
Because I also know the sting of a master's betrayal. The difference is my master isn't some money-grubbing businessman. He's an emperor who rules the greatest empire your world has ever known.
And I'm supposed to believe that you're going to bring peace? Yeah. The black leather and red glowing sword aren't convincing me.
Then perhaps you can bring that peace yourself.
Vader snaps his fingers and two droids come in, carrying one of Iron Man's suits in a crate.
Obadiah's plans are nothing to me. Here is my deal. Help me create my armor, and I shall allow you to return to Earth and overthrow your master.
And why should I believe that?
Because, as I said, you are not the only one who felt the betrayal of a master.
For the first time since arriving, Tony feels the sincerity of those words. Slowly, he agrees to help him. The two immediately get to work on the armor. First, he studies Vader's existing suit and looks for ways to upgrade it. The Dark Lord takes an active role in these upgrades, using his knowledge of engineering to help in the designs. The two find weak points and begin correcting them, such as improving the comfort and sensors of the armor, then modifying the needles to allow Vader to control the amount of pain he feels. Lastly, Tony replaces the material with Beskar. After that, he adds additional modifications, placing rocket boosters and repulsor lasers that allow Vader to fight without his lightsaber. These are also enhancements that will increase Vader's strength, speed, and endurance. Meanwhile, Tony also begins working on his armor, making upgrades to it with the new weapons this galaxy has to offer. Vader is more than happy to let Tony create this armor. However, he is smarter than the 10 Rings and has an excellent understanding of engineering, restricting the weapons Tony has access to and preventing him from making a superior suit. However, the armor he makes is still far superior to anything on Earth. Once the armor is complete, Vader honors his agreement and allows Tony to return home with his new armor. But the Earth he returns to is not the one he left. Without him stopping Obadiah, Stark Industries mass-produces the Ironmonger armor and sells it to governments. However, villains and criminals also manage to get their hands on this technology. Rather than reduce the risk of conflict, it only increases it. S.H.I.E.L.D. still manages to assemble the Avengers without Iron Man, recruiting Hawkeye, Captain America, the Hulk, and Black Widow to try and control the threats, though they face an uphill battle. When Tony arrives, he heads straight to Stark Industries headquarters to confront Obadiah. As he reaches the main lobby, Obadiah meets him. Although surprised to see Tony still alive, he tries to appear confident and smirks.
Tony, how was your business trip?
Great. Got to recharge, even got that tan I've always wanted. But now, I think I'm ready to head back to work.
You still look a little tense. Are you sure you don't want to take a couple more weeks? Security can show you out.
A pair of ironmongers and dozens of security guards appear, pointing their weapons at him. When Tony takes a step forward, they all unleash a barrage of bullets at him. The glass doors behind him shatter in a burst of sparks, while the ground around him fills with bullet holes. But as they stop shooting, there's barely a scratch on Tony's Beskar armor as all of the bullets bounce off.
There's a funny thing about selling someone to aliens. You also give them access to their technology.
Suddenly he leaps to his feet and holds both hands out. Lasers shoot out from his palms and immediately blast through the first ironmonger. The second rushes at him and tries to crush Tony. However, he catches the fist in midair and tosses the second suit aside. The remaining security guards see this in awe, but before they can fire, they're hit by a stun round as a squad of stormtroopers rush down from Tony's shuttle.
And it turns out that Vader and I had a lot in common, so I invited him over to Malibu. Now, about my company.
Obadiah is already running, hurrying down the halls towards an elevator while Tony chases after. The door closes before he can reach the traitor, but Tony simply rips the door open and follows the elevator down to the research facility. There, Tony finds Obadiah's lab and begins searching for him. Suddenly, a missile comes from out of the shadows and hits Tony. Though his armor absorbs most of the blast, it still sends him flying. Another Ironmonger suit emerges, with Obadiah in the controls.
I have to say, I understand why you love using this thing. How do you like the new upgrades?
He rips a computer terminal from the ground and hurls it at Tony. The inventor barely gets to his feet and blasts it apart with his hands before more come flying. Activating his rocket boosters, he flies around the room, blasting Obadiah. This time, it's his turn to be surprised, as his lasers and blasters do not affect him.
Vibranium. It cost the company a fortune to acquire it, and I had to work with some pretty bad people to get it. But it looks like it was worth it.
Impressive. But I have my upgrades too.
Tony reaches for a weapon and ignites a blood-red lightsaber. He ducks Obadiah's next attack and flies in close, slashing the blade against his chest. However, even this weapon can't slice through vibranium, and Obadiah backhands Tony aside.
Now that's a cool toy. I'll be sure to add that to the next batch of these.
As their weapons are useless against each other, both resort to hand-to-hand combat. Tony leaps back at him and the two begin to grapple, with Tony striking and slashing while using his suit's superior speed to dodge Obadiah's powerful strikes. As they fight, Tony tries to hit the weak points of his armor where the vibranium doesn't protect him. He leaps up in the air as Obadiah sends his fist smashing against the ground. Leaping over the attack, he slashes his lightsaber across the circuits of Obadiah's suit, shorting out his HUD. This forces the Ironmonger's suit to open up so Obadiah can see. Tony jerks one hand up and unleashes a jet of flames towards him. The older man screams as the flames sear his skin. He stumbles back blindly, allowing Tony to leap over him and drive his lightsaber into his throat. The Ironmonger collapses to the ground, leaving Tony to drop to his knees, but his radio crackles to life. The stormtrooper captain who accompanied him speaks up.
Sir, we have company outside. I'm not sure who they're with.
Getting to his feet, Tony flies back upstairs to see his stormtroopers in a standoff with the Avengers.
What's happening here? Just a change of management. You'll be happy to know that the Ironmongers won't be a problem anymore. You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, and what about the Ironmonger suits already on the loose? Tony flexes his wrists and draws his lightsaber.
Every problem needs the right tools, and I have just the right ones to help. Don't worry, I'll explain everything in my press conference.
He begins to walk past them towards the press conference, accompanied by his stormtroopers, leaving the Avengers no choice but to follow them. In this conference, Tony reveals everything that's happened, from his first capture with the 10 rings and the development of the Iron Man suit, followed by Obadiah stealing his designs and selling them to Darth Vader, who then allows Tony to return. Many are understandably skeptical about these claims and demand proof. In response, Tony simply snaps his fingers and the doors of the conference hall fly open. Darth Vader appears in his new suit and begins marching down the hall.
What my colleague says is true, just as giving you that power was a mistake. I have seen the destruction this technology has wrought on your people. I am here to provide you with the solution. The empire I serve is vast, with technology and resources far superior to anything you will find here. I am prepared to offer an alliance with you.
His terms are simple. Earth will join the Empire, and in exchange, Vader will give them access to the Empire's technology under Tony's supervision. The World Security Council does not immediately support this decision, as S.H.I.E.L.D. is still in development of Phase 2. They try to delay the decision until Phase 2 is completed to gain a better bargaining position. The Council announces they are open to negotiations, but first require proof of Vader's ability to protect Earth. In response, a joint force of the Avengers and Imperial troops is organized to hunt down criminal organizations who have access to Stark Industries' weapons, like the Ironmonger. Tony agrees to these demands, as one of his main motivations is to prevent people from accessing these dangerous weapons. This task force travels across the world, hunting down criminals and terrorists. The team proves to be incredibly successful in this effort, as the superior Imperial technology is more than a match for whatever the criminals have. Organizations like the 10 Rings are quickly dealt with. One of Tony's first targets is Ulysses Claw, as he determines that he was the one who sold Obadiah vibranium. Many across the world rally around the Empire. They see Vader and his stormtroopers making short work of whatever criminals and terrorists are opposing them, something that S.H.I.E.L.D. was struggling to deal with. But that isn't the only mistake that the Council makes. In their hurry to finish Phase 2 in Project Pegasus with the Tesseract, this draws Loki's attention, who steals the device and brings down the entire research facility where they were studying it. This time, the Council refuses to allow the Imperials to help and orders the Avengers to track him down. Loki's brother Thor joins them on this task, but they are unable to stop him from using this power to summon the Chitauri to invade Manhattan. Seeing this crisis bubble over, Iron Man offers Imperial aid to repel the invasion. Seeing no other option, the Avengers agree, As the skies fill with Chitauri, an Imperial Star Destroyer looms over the portal, providing air cover for the ground forces as it deploys swarms of TIE fighters. Vader, Tony, and their stormtroopers rush into the war-torn city, firing their blasters into the air and helping evacuate civilians. Behind them, lumbering AT-ATs provide heavy artillery fire. Despite all their efforts, the Security Council still determines the threat is too great and orders a nuclear strike on the city. Nick Fury and the Avengers barely prevent this strike, including Iron Man, who pulls the nuke into the portal to ensure its destruction, leaving him barely surviving. This battle completely turns public opinion in favor of an Imperial alliance. Seeing Darth Vader fighting on the streets with his troops while Iron Man, the selected representative, sacrifices himself to save Earth proves to the people that the Empire has their best interests at heart. However, this attack shakes up Tony, who sees the full power of different outside forces. He vows to create something that can fully protect Earth. He proposes using the Mind Stone left by Loki for a new project, the Ultron Program. This will create an artificial intelligence that will be planted into an army of Iron Man suits called the Iron Legion. To his surprise, Vader agrees to the plan. With Earth now part of the Empire, Vader can harness its resources and fighters for his plans to overthrow Palpatine. An army of highly intelligent droids would only help him. However, although he refuses to admit it, he also develops protective feelings about Earth. Unlike the rest of the Empire, they know nothing of his betrayals or who he was before. Instead, they only know him as the hero who keeps their world safe. It makes him feel a bit like Anakin before Mustafar. He fully commits himself to this project, pouring resources into developing the Ultron Program. This research happens all on Earth, as it is the Empire's farthest holding, away from Palpatine's power base. They build the Ultron AI not only with the Mind Stone, but also using the research of Darth Tenebris. They harness all the advanced technologies that the former Sith Lord built. These include advanced starships, supercomputers, and advanced algorithms, all to protect Earth from any potential threat and to help overthrow Palpatine. Vader uses his mastery of engineering and the Force to imbue Ultron with the Force to strengthen him. Soon enough, Vader announces this development and promises that it will make S.H.I.E.L.D. obsolete. They deploy this new Iron Legion against the few major criminal organizations left and make short work of them. With the Iron Legion constantly patrolling against threats, there are few opportunities for villains to rise. Vader and Tony are seen as heroes who finally bring about world peace, overshadowing the Security Council as the effective rulers of Earth. However, another group also takes an interest in their project, Hydra. They secretly offer their contribution to the Ultron Program, using the Zola algorithm to identify threats. Vader is intrigued by this idea and suggests using it on Palpatine's supporters. He secretly enters into an agreement with them, integrating it into the Iron Legion without Tony knowing. With this done, he feels as if his hold on Earth is secure and begins making plans to return to Coruscant and confront Palpatine. Vader takes most of the Iron Legion with him, leaving Tony to watch over Earth. Instead, Vader takes Captain America, the Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye to help him defeat Palpatine, along with an entire fleet of Star Destroyers crewed by the Iron Legion. When they reach the capital, Vader's first step is to deploy the Iron Legion to attack the defenses. Most drones engage the stormtroopers and the Coruscant Defense Force, but a few break off and hunt down Vader's targets. During the trip, Vader uploads all the necessary data to help the drones identify these targets. Meanwhile, he and the Avengers move to engage Palpatine in his office. The Emperor watches the battle unfold, hardly believing what he's seeing. He wonders how Vader could have organized this right under his nose, when he has operatives from here to the Outer Rim. But those thoughts are cut short as Vader enters the room. The Emperor's eyes widen at the sight of his apprentice. Gone is this simple suit of armor that he commissioned, replaced by an advanced set that leaves him levitating off the ground. Alongside him are a group of strangers, all brandishing primitive weapons, but radiating power.
So, at long last my apprentice seeks to challenge me.
This will not be a challenge.
Fools, you cannot comprehend the power of the dark side.
The Sith Lord raises his hands and unleashes a torrent of Force lightning. The electric blue bolts snake through the air towards the group. Captain America reacts before anyone else can blink. He raises his shield in front of them and disperses the energy into a shower of sparks. The Avengers scatter across the room and attack. Hawkeye hangs back and fires a series of arrows at Palpatine. The arrows whistle through the air, but with a flick of his wrist, Palpatine halts them mid-flight. The arrows spin around and rocket back towards Hawkeye, who flips to the side, narrowly avoiding the explosion they make. Black Widow darts in, her movements a blur of agility and precision. She rolls to the side, slashing her batons at him. The blue arcs of energy surge towards him, but Palpatine's hand disperses the electricity and throws it back at her, sending Black Widow stumbling aside, but managing to land on her feet. This clears an opening for Vader to fire his energy bolts at him, forcing Palpatine to kick his desk up for cover. Hulk roars and launches himself at Palpatine, smashing through his makeshift cover and cracking the floor beneath him.
Hulk smashed, puny Sith.
A pair of mammoth fists nearly crush Palpatine's skull, who must lean back to avoid them, but then counters with a powerful Force push that sends Hulk across the room and forces Hawkeye to leap out of the way. Vader takes Hulk's place and charges forward with a speed and strength that surprises even Palpatine. His red saber ignites, and he brings it down in a powerful arc. Palpatine meets the blow with his own lightsaber, the crimson blades clashing and sparking. As their lightsabers clash again and again, Palpatine feels the unnatural strength in Vader's blows. Even with the Force aiding him, he struggles to hold back his apprentice's attacks. He soon finds himself on the defensive, blocking each strike as Vader forces him back. Palpatine's eyes blaze with fury, using the Force to strengthen himself as a malevolent aura surrounds him. Captain America seizes the moment and charges, his shield leading the way. He slams into Palpatine with the force of a freight train, the impact reverberating through the room. Palpatine snarls and stumbles to his feet. Captain America tries to follow by throwing his shield, but Palpatine catches it with the Force and throws it right back, knocking Captain America out the window. He disappears into the streets below. Seeing this, the remaining Avengers press their attack. Hulk is the first to strike, snarling and smashing his fists against Palpatine, but the Sith Lord is slippery and ducks under each attack. He sidesteps and jumps back until the Hulk thrusts his fists out, allowing Palpatine to jerk his lightsaber up into the Hulk's forearm. The giant screams in pain, fueling Palpatine further as he headbutts him and then shoves him forward to take bullets and arrows from Hawkeye and Black Widow. He then shoves the Hulk aside and absorbs the attacks with his lightsaber. Hawkeye knocks the explosive arrow and fires, the projectile streaking towards Vader, but the Dark Lord deflects the weapon, sending it flying. Palpatine barely leaps back from the explosion. As he flies through the air, he pulls Hawkeye with him and stabs him with his lightsaber. Black Widow screams in anger and darts in with a series of electrified strikes. Palpatine staggers, his defenses faltering under the relentless assault. Vader, seeing his opening, strides forward. His lightsaber hums ominously as he raises it high. With a swift, decisive strike, he cuts through Palpatine's defenses, the blade slicing cleanly through the Sith Lord. Black Widow runs up and cradles Hawkeye's body, while Vader contacts Captain America. Captain America's eyes flutter open, but immediately wince as he feels the sting of various injuries. With a groan, he pushes himself up, leaning on his shield for support as he takes in the scene around him. The battle is going well, with their Iron Legion driving back the stormtroopers. They buzz around, dodging blaster fire or tossing the white-armored soldiers aside, but not all are fighting. Some of the drones actively avoid the battle, marching into homes. He hears screams coming from inside, not just men, but women and children. As he follows one drone, he sees it enter a home and blast the woman inside as her children scream before walking away. Before he can leave, he feels a chilling presence behind him. He turns to see Darth Vader.
Captain, it is time to go.
What are those drones doing?
Did you think that Palpatine was the only threat that needed to be removed?
I didn't think you'd be asking us to commit war crimes.
I hoped that I would not have to kill you, Captain. But when Hydra gave me their algorithm, They placed you at the top of the list.
Captain America raises his shield and charges, aiming to strike at Vader with all his remaining strength. Vader's lightsaber meets his shield with a thunderous clash, the vibranium holding firm against the plasma blade. With a single push, Vader shoves Captain America back and unleashes a series of powerful overhead attacks. Each blow falls on his shield, but the Sith Lord does not need to hit him, because the blows are sapping what little strength Captain America has left. Vader's lightsaber slashes through the air, leaving the super soldier barely enough time to block with his shield. In a split-second decision, Captain America kicks Vader's legs from under him and smashes his shield against his helmet. This sends the Dark Lord sprawling and gives Cap time to escape. Above him, a trio of drones chase after him, raining blaster bolts down on him. Captain ducks into alleys, using his shield to hold them back, but his body begins to shut down as he struggles to keep fighting. As the drones near him again, a series of blaster bolts knock them out of the air. Captain America finds himself face to face with the grizzled clone trooper, Captain Rex.
This way, quickly!
Rex leads Cap through a series of hidden routes, expertly navigating the labyrinth of debris and destruction. They finally reach a small building. Inside, a young orange-skinned woman is there with her lightsabers held ready.
Ahsoka, this is one of the Avengers. I saw him fighting Vader.
And why would you turn against your master, Captain?
He's not the man I thought he was.
No. Not anymore.
The two of them explain their stories. Captain America says that they used to protect Earth, but since Darth Vader's arrival, the Avengers are forced to work under him. But after seeing the things Vader has planned, he turns against him. Ahsoka explains that she was Vader's former apprentice before he became a Sith Lord. Now she is a leader in the rebellion against the Empire. The two of them quickly agree on a plan. As Earth is Vader's power base, they will strike there too, and cut the snake off at its head. Ahsoka helps smuggle Captain America off-world and signals her fleet to rally at her meeting point to organize an invasion of Earth. Meanwhile, Captain America secretly gets in contact with Falcon, reporting everything he sees to prepare the Avengers. The Rebel Alliance's fleet, led by Admiral Akbar, emerges from hyperspace above Earth. X-Wings and Y-Wings swoop down, engaging Imperial TIE fighters in a dogfight. On the ground, Captain America, Ahsoka, and Captain Rex lead Rebel soldiers through the war-torn streets. Rebel Alliance, this is Captain America. We're storming Stark Tower. We need air support to take out the defenses.
Understood, Captain. All wings focus on Stark Tower. Give them cover.
The combined forces push through the city streets, encountering heavy resistance from stormtroopers and Hydra agents. While the rebel soldiers provide a distraction, Captain America, Ahsoka, and Rex sneak inside. Inside Stark Tower, Vader stands with Hydra agents, overseeing the battle from a high-tech command center. The Avengers are all there, waiting to be deployed before the doors burst open. Captain America leads the charge, throwing his shield to take out most of the Hydra agents. The other Avengers train their weapons on him, but Captain America raises his hand. You've seen the recordings I've sent. Vader and Hydra are working together. We need to take them down. Now. Suddenly, all the Avengers whirl around and point their weapons at him. Iron Man is the last to do so, hesitating for a moment until Vader clears his throat.
Execute Order 66.
It will be done, my lord.
Iron Man, under the control of an inhibitor chip activated by Darth Vader, turns on his teammates. His repulsors flare as he takes to the air, forcing the others to dive for cover.
Stand down or be destroyed.
Iron Man fires a volley of missiles at Hulk, who barely manages to shield himself with a chunk of concrete. The explosion rocks the room, sending debris flying. Iron Man's repulsors fire again, this time targeting Black Widow, who rolls to the side and fires at his armor.
Stark, no!
Iron Man blasts Hulk with a concentrated beam, sending him crashing through the wall. Rex rushes at him, firing his blasters alongside Captain America, who blocks a repulsor blast with his shield. Tony, fight it! This isn't you! At the same moment, Vader rushes at him with his lightsaber. The blade clashes against his shield, while Captain America tries to push him back. Ahsoka joins in and attacks Vader from the side, taking the pressure off Cap, who slams his shield into Vader's side. The two share a glance and rush at Vader. The battle rages on, with Iron Man proving a formidable opponent. For the combined efforts of the Avengers and the Rebels.
There's an inhibitor chip in him. That's how Vader is controlling him.
Great. So how do we get it out?
We need a surgical suite, and him to be unconscious.
Black Widow dashes toward Iron Man, her agility allowing her to dodge his attack and lash out with her batons. The electricity sends sparks across the room, momentarily stunning him. Rex follows up by firing stun rounds, while Falcon throws himself at him, slamming his wings against his suit as if they were clubs.
You're going to need more firepower than that,
raising Mjolnir. Thor channels a fork of lightning directly at Iron Man, sending him flying across the room, his armor covered in soot. Captain America and the others face off against Vader. The Sith Lord's lightsaber clashes with Captain America's shield, while Ahsoka acts as the offense of the team, thrusting her blades each time Vader attacks. This allows them to hold their own, but Vader then shoves them back with the Force.
You cannot win, Captain. I have the power of the dark side.
We have a Hulk. Suddenly, a hand lifts Vader off the ground and slams him repeatedly into the ground. The Hulk grins and stands over Vader, raining fists down on him. By the time he pulls away, Vader's armor is sparking but remains intact. However, Captain America smashes his shield against Vader's breastplate again and again until an opening forms. Ahsoka follows up and drives her lightsabers into his chest. With Vader gone, the rebels manage to secure the city and provide a full account of Vader's crimes, revealing that he's far from the benevolent leader everyone thinks he is. Iron Man is living proof of that as they reveal the inhibitor chip placed into his head. As the Imperial forces are forced to withdraw, the Avengers take their place as the protectors of Earth. They enter an alliance with the Rebel Alliance, who offer to take Tony back with them to remove his inhibitor chip. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.